Breaking late today, new evidence that $3 million found its way from a Chinese company into Biden bank accounts. We're now learning that Hallie Biden, Joe Biden's daughter-in-law, who he spent time with last weekend in Delaware, was also a recipient of that money, according to the reports around these documents, of two transfers of thousands of dollars. Kellyanne Conway and Juan Williams join us in a moment, but first to Republican Congresswoman Nance Mace of the House Oversight Committee. Congresswoman Mace, great to have you back on the program. So we had heard from James Comer, the chairman of the committee, that there were other unnamed Biden family members who were recipients of this money. And now we're learning that it's Hallie, who was married to Beau Biden and later dated Hunter Biden. What's your reaction, your thoughts on this today?
Well, number one, I want the American people to know the United States is not for sale, and China will not get away with paying off members of the Biden family. This is wrong. This needs to be investigated, and the more that we learn, the worse it gets. And we learned this week, $3 million taken from a Chinese company going to a Biden family associate, and within 24 hours, maybe less than, that money being dispersed to members of the current president's family, and it's wrong.
So, what we've learned is that $3 million of this money, and everybody remembers, this is the money that Tony Bobulinski talked about. CEFC is the company, an electrical company in China that they were doing consulting with. The nature of that work has not really been nailed down in terms of what was worth all of that money. Then it came up in these suspicious, these SARS called suspicious account reports that the Treasury had. So here's Tony Bobulinski talking to Tucker back in October about who Rob Walker is, who this money appears to have gone through. Watch this.
Will you explain to us who Rob Walker is?
Yeah, Rob Walker was a partner in Rosemont Seneca and had a very close relationship with the Biden family and had developed and been working with James Gillier throughout 2015 and 2016 to develop this deal with the Chinese and CFC.
So, Congresswoman Mace, the White House has said to Fox News' statement, a disgusting attack, lamenting the president's deceased son, Beau, never prosecuted while he was alive. Congressman Comer's now decided to go after his widow, and it goes on saying that it's bizarrely attacking the president's family, and Republicans should focus on delivering results for Americans. What do you say?
Well, we're going to get to the bottom of this. I want to praise Chairman Comer for investigating this. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and that's what we're seeing here today. And if we had this information back then, we would have investigated it back then. But we didn't even have access to the suspicious activity reports until this week, when a deal was struck for us to get access to them. And it's not just the nature of the work where multi-millions of dollars were paid off to Biden family members. It's the nature of the work, but it's also what qualified them to do the work. And no one can answer that question.
One of the things that leaps to my mind is one of the emails that was on Hunter Biden's laptop. And he said something to the effect of, to one of his daughters, I hope you never are in a position where you have to pay for everything for the family, right? It was along those lines. I'm definitely paraphrasing it. Is that what we're seeing here? And do these reports directly link the money that came from CEFC to Hallie Biden through Rob Walker? I mean, how confident are you that that direct connection exists?
Right. We'll be more confident once we've done our investigation, and we'll follow the facts and lead wherever they take us, number one. But number two, when you couple what we're learning this week with the emails and knowing that some of the current president's bills were paid for by members of his family who were getting this money from the Chinese, it becomes deeply problematic. And those are questions that we all have and would like to get to the bottom of it. And if somebody broke a law or an office was bought and paid for, the American people ought to know that too.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Congresswoman Mace from the Oversight Committee, very active these days in a lot of these investigations. Thank you very much, Congresswoman.